to my channel. Today we're going to talk about a topic that a lot of people have asked me about, which is how to hold a speech or talk in public in the era in which everything is happening online. And this is a very important topic, and maybe it happened to you as well, to have some online meetings in which you realize that the dynamics that you usually applied to public speaking in person, now they're different. They've changed. And so we need to adapt and find different solutions in order to be able to be as effective, also if we don't have real people in front of us, but just the people on a screen. So if you ever have any kind of meeting online, keep watching because you will find some very interesting tips. The first thing that we need to keep in mind is that whenever we talk about public speaking, a very easy way to tackle it and simplify it is to understand that there are different levels of communication, that are different ways in which we can express ourselves in front of other people. And this happens when you are talking one-to-one with someone, but it's expanded and magnified when you're talking with a lot of people. For each of these levels, you will see that there are some differences when we are online. So we're going to see together how to tackle them. One of these levels, and I'm going to talk about this first because it's the one that changes the least when we're talking online, is the verbal level. What is verbal? Verbal represents everything that we say. So it's all the words that we use. It's basically what you could understand about the speech if you were reading it on a script. So if you read the script, even though the script already includes also some of the paraverbal, let's say a script with no punctuation, that's your verbal level. So all the words that are used. Now, when we are online, we can still talk, so that doesn't change much. However, there's one thing to pay attention to when we're thinking about how to script what we need to say in an online speech. The difference is this, that online, people tend to get distracted much easier, okay? Much easier. So in your script, what you need to pay attention to in terms of verbal is that you have more references to them as people, so to the listener. You ask more questions that they can think about. You engage them in the words you are using, even more than you would do normally in person, so that their attention can be up. As they are about to get distracted, they hear you asking, so what do you think about this? Have you ever done this? How does that relate to you? Whatever sentence you can use in order to bring them back to your planet instead of their daydream, that will help immensely. Second level that we are going to discuss is the non-verbal level. Now, non-verbal, as you can imagine, represents everything that has nothing to do with the words that you say. So it is all the movements, and usually in a normal condition in which you are talking in public in front of real people, that is a huge slice of what you're going to do, because you have the way you move, you use your face, eye contact, the way you move around, the presence, the way you use your gestures, how close you are to the audience. So there's a lot of ways in which we use our non-verbal communication level when we talk in public. Online, this is halved. But why? Because of course online you see my face, most situations. At times you can do it standing, but it's another kind of thing, it's very rare. Usually people see your face. So everything that happens underneath your neck basically doesn't exist. You are stuck, you can't move, as you know, I mean, I'm Italian and I use my gestures a lot, hand gestures, and when you're online, of course, most of the times, most of your gestures are almost hidden. So it's a different way. So how do you work on your non-verbal online? First of all, you need to realize that you need to work with what you have. So what do you have? What is visible? Your face. So making sure that you use your facial expression, making sure that you are not talking like this all the time, because otherwise the audience will not engage you, much less, okay? So move your face. I mean, I do it usually also when I'm in public, but like try to use your facial expressions a lot, because they are an extra help to your communication. And the other very important thing is eye contact. So a lot of people ask me, well, how do you do eye contact online? So it's not possible to do eye contact online because the camera that you're looking at is different from where the person is. So maybe you're seeing a person here. If you look at the person, you're not looking at the camera. So you feel you're giving them attention, but actually the camera is there. So in general, what I think is more natural and people appreciate and so on is that you jump from one face to the other because they see that you're looking at different people. But whenever you have a message that you really want people to perceive and feel, make sure you look into the camera. So look into the green light, my computer is green, so that people feel that you're looking at them and they perceive that message and allow it to sink in even more. It's a small strategy, but it makes a huge difference, especially when you know that that person needs your eyes in that moment. And eyes are a huge vehicle to communicate. The third level that we're going to discuss today, that usually I talk about as a second one, but today I wanted to leave last because it's a bit more complex to work on, is paraverbal. Now, paraverbal represents not the words that you say, so not the script, not what you say without words, which is basically, imagine if you're nonverbal is like if you're looking at a movie, mute, that's the nonverbal. So you see people moving, doing things, you see facial expression, that's nonverbal. Paraverbal is what you hear without including the words that are being said. So how things are said. So for example, how can you picture paraverbal? Imagine to hear two people talking in a language that you don't know. So you don't have the verbal, you don't know what they're saying, you can't see them, so you don't have the nonverbal. That's basically isolating the paraverbal. From the tone that they use, you can understand a lot of things, okay? If someone comes to you and says, I have some news, or if someone comes to you and says, I have some news, you already know that something is different, okay? If someone comes and says, I have some news, it's a different one, okay? So playing with the way we use our tone will make a huge difference. And in talking in public, I notice how for many people, paraverbal is really underestimated. So it's one of the last things you think about when you're talking in public, but it's so important. And when we come online, it gets to be even more important because it's what will help you to really engage the person. Make sure that their attention stays high. If someone talks like this the whole time and they keep talking like this about also very interesting topics, at a certain point you will just get distracted, think about something else, get bored. If someone talks very soft spoken all the time, or someone screams all the time, no, there's no such thing as only one tone online. You need to play with the tones. So you need to have a different pace, at times faster, at times slower. You need to have breaks when people need to hear that message in a certain way. You need to raise your volume or lower your volume. You need to go up high or go lower according to what you need to say and what you are talking about. And I know that it's not that simple to do it if you have never practiced. So what I want to do is to give you a few tips that you can apply in order to improve on the way you use your tones online. First of all, record yourself, and then after a few hours or the following day, re-listen to what you have said. I know that for a lot of people that's very hard to do because we're not used to hearing our voice again, but it's a very good exercise because it allows you to notice certain things and acknowledge what are those weak spots that maybe you hadn't noticed before. At that point, you need to practice. And a couple of ways that I find very interesting to practice are these. Number one, get a show that you like where there's someone that uses a tone that you really like, where you can have subtitles too. And try to shadow the person as they talk. It could be a comedian, it could be someone that you just find very engaging, maybe during a TED talk or a famous speech, and try to shadow them. You don't need to memorize it for that, you can do it in another situation, but reading the subtitles, shadow the tone that they use. And that will help you to notice certain things and practice a lot. The second way is to take a book, and as you read the book, try to extremize certain things. So for example, you want to work on your pace. So you read a paragraph and you read it super, super quickly, and you start reading, and then you go very, very slowly, and maybe it is very, very hard, but you do the whole paragraph like that. And then you want to work on your pitch, and so you focus on going very, very high, very, very low, and you work on that. Or maybe you try to sing it, you try to scream it, you try to use different emotions. Okay, say, okay, now read this part to the same sentence in an angry way, read it in a romantic way, read it in a sad way, so that you can mimic the emotions and practice like that on something where you don't need to think about what to say. So the reason why the book is helpful is because you just need to read it. You don't need to think about what to say. You don't need to think about your nonverbal. All you focus on is your paraverbal. By practicing like this, you will see that you will become more and more engaging during your meetings. And it will be important because people will listen to you more, they will get less distracted, and they will be able to follow you and to understand what you really want to convey to them. Thank you for watching. Make sure you leave a comment if you have any questions or if you have any topic that you would like me to tackle. And if you want to explore more and more tips on how to survive and thrive during lockdown, but also in life in general, just make sure you check out one of these 2 videos over here. See you in the next video.